Morning, Market Chameleons and Dimitri Pargamonic. How you doing, Dima?
Good morning, Will. How are you?
Excellent. What do you see in this AM in the actually, let's do the before we get started, let's do the disclaimer. Yeah. Sorry about
Yep.
that.
Good morning, everyone. Before we get started, keep in mind, Will and I and Market Chameleon, we're not registered investment advisors. We're not broker dealers. We're not telling you what to do. We're just sharing ideas. If you need professional help, call your broker. That's what they're there for, to help answer your questions and provide you with guidance. There's the disclaimer.
Excellent.
Let's take a look at the pre-market. So I think what we'll do is go over the pre-market report. You said you had some questions yesterday about the option block trade screener. So I'll go, navigate to that after this. Take a look at what's coming up on the earnings front. If you have any questions along the way, I'm going to try to answer as many as I can before the end of the show.
All right.
So let's start with the pre-market report. These are stocks that are trading in the pre-market hours before the market opens. We have the most active stocks, biggest percentage gainers, biggest percentage decliners. I'm just seeing the amount of stocks that made the percentage gainers list, 234 versus 45 on the percentage decliners list. From that perspective, looks like a more bias towards the upside in the morning. Let's filter for higher market cap stocks, see what's going on there. So I'm using this filter, market cap of $20 billion or higher. We could see here 39 made the percentage gainers list, only 8 on the percentage decliners list. Again, looks more like a bullish bias at the open. Couple stocks here that have been in the news. Plug Power up 6% in the morning. Just kind of scanning with my eyes, Tesla, that was up a lot yesterday, up another 2.3% in the pre-market hours. PLTR starting to rebound up 2.3% in the pre-market hours. Nothing else is sticking out right now. So I'm going to go to the unfiltered report. I think GE had some news in the morning. That's been rallying, but I believe they also issued some guidance outlook for the full year. So we see that stock right now down 2.1% in the pre-market hours. Let me go to the unfiltered report. And we see a couple stocks up top that are gapping up, that are lower market cap stocks. We got ENVB up 85%. That looks like there's some headline news. It's a biotech. Looks like maybe they signed some kind of an agreement for licensing. That's trading 9.7 million shares in the pre-market, market cap 53.7 million. CETX up 81% on 10 million shares. That's also low market cap stock, 30 million. So I think what I'll do, and we haven't done this in a while, is we see these small cap stocks usually making the top of the list with large gap moves. Like, we're seeing 75, 40, 85%. If they open here, the question is it a good deal? Is this a signal that they're going to continue to rally after the open the rest of the day? Or are these gaps, reflective of most of the move, and do they come back in? So I'm looking in general right now compared to the rest of the market. Like, how do these tend to perform, these big gappers in the morning? How do they tend to perform the rest of the day? Okay, so that's what we're going to take a look at. So I'm going to use the data. I'm going to scroll down here below, and we're going to look at our data, which is capturing the gap moves for the last 20 days. Okay, so down here, we have a table of stocks that gapped up in the morning, right, in the last 20 days. We have the date, the name of the symbol, name of the stock, its industry, the market cap, the pre-market volume. We see the opening price and the gap from the previous day. Then what we do is we measure from the opening, how did it do that first half hour? Because that first half hour, historically, in general, tends to be the busiest, right, volume of the day. Usually it's the, first half hour, first hour, and the last hour then you get some in between. Things usually calm down unless there's news. But so we're going to look at what does it do from 9:30 to 10 a.m. and then we'll see what it does it do to the close of the day. Okay, how did these tend to perform the rest of the day? And here we have them separated gap up moves and gap down. So we're going to look at just the gap up guys for now. Remember, these are the last 20 trading days. Okay, so it's about a month's worth of data. So if we took all the gap up movers, right, and all the stocks that made our gap up list in the last 20 days, by 10 a.m., 44% of them from the opening price to 10 a.m. were higher, 55% were lower, on average, break even. By the close of the day, from 9:30 a.m. at the opening to the close of the day, 45% of those drifted higher, 54% lower. On average, they lost 0.6%, a little bit more than 0.5%. So that's all the stocks, no matter what industry, market cap, that's all the stocks. So we're using this as our baseline benchmark. And let's see how stocks that were lower market cap, right? How did those stocks tend to do? Because the idea there is maybe they have a lower float. It's easier to push them higher. Are these pre-market moves, enticing or getting people to impulsively start buying into those stocks? What happens? What is the follow through after the opening? So that's the question we want to compare to the overall stats. All right, so this is what I'm going to do. Let's take a look at gap up movers that were lower market cap. Let's do under 100 million. Okay, so stocks that gapped up in the morning, that market cap under 100 million, we see 40% of those from 9:30 to 10 a.m. were higher. After that gap, 58% were lower, but on average they gained 0.3%. So we see over here, these are our baseline. So not as many of them went up, but on average they gained. So in other words, the bias towards the upside was a little bit higher than the bias towards the downside as far as magnitude of moves. By the end of the day, they fared worse though, right? So 41% of them were higher, 58% were lower versus the control group, 45%, 54%. On average, they lost 1.3% versus 0.6% for the overall group. So on average, they lost twice as much by the end of the day as far as, percentage move. Okay. Let's take a look. Let's use another filter and say, what about the extreme gappers, right? So these are all the gap moves, right? What about ones that gapped up in the morning by more than 20%? So here it is. The market cap under 100 million. The stock gapped up from the previous day at 9:30 by 20% or more. What did those stocks tend to do by 10 a.m. by the close of the day? All right, let me just see how many of these made the list. So there's like 69 of those out of a total of 5,000. So here we go. So only 32% of those, that group was higher from 9:30 to 10 a.m. versus 44% in our baseline group. But on average, if we took the average of all of them, they gained 2.9%. In other words, even though not as many of them went up, the ones that went up, the magnitude of those up moves was more extreme than the ones that were down, resulting in an average gain. Okay, does that make sense to everybody? So these 32% that were higher, the magnitude of the moves, and we could kind of see here. Here's one. INVO opened 71% at the opening. It was up 71% from the previous day. By 10 a.m., It opened at 533. By 10 a.m., the stock was $9.47. In other words, it gained another 77% from the opening price. So you could see that the magnitude, that's what we're looking at, the magnitude of those moves. So you could see here that up on average 2.9%, even though only 32% of those increase. However, by the end of the day, only 26% of them finished higher, 74% lower, and on average, the average was down 6.6%. So most of that enthusiasm, if there was a follow through, was in the first half hour. Then it started to kind of fade away. On average, you could see here by the close as a group, if you did all of them, on average, down 6.6%. Does that make sense to everybody, what I'm doing?
We run a little bit of a delay here, but it makes sense to me. So let us know if that makes sense, everyone. Any questions related to this gap history, let Dima know.
So over here, I'm just looking at some of the bigger ones, bigger gap. So let me just filter here. I'm moving at the bigger gap moves. And I see, biotech stocks kind of come up here. So biotechs are a frequent one here. So let's do that. Let's just filter out the biotech stocks, all right? Because I see them popping up a lot. So I'm going to do industry and just biotech stocks. So here, biotechnology. So the biotechnologies, this is how it did. So after gapping up, and these are still under 100 million with a 20% gap or higher at the morning, all right? And they have to be a biotech stock. So I got 3 filters now going. So those in the first half hour did better than the previous group. So 42% of them were higher by 10 a.m. 58% were lower for an average gain of 8.3%. But by the end of the day, you see, almost all, it was all given back. Only 8% of them finished higher from the open, 92% lower for an average loss of 16.8%. So first half hour, that's where really the bulk of the, enthusiasm was. Most of the gains after the open. By the end of the day, you see that those faded, and on average, they closed below the opening price. You on average lost 16.8% from the opening price. So really quickly, that's how, just looking at the probabilities of that group versus the control group. Any questions there, Will, on any of them?
It looked like everyone was had a hang of it, D.
Okay, I'll do one more since we did the very low cap stocks. Let me unfilter these. Let's see how the high cap stocks did, right, versus the rest of the group. So was it better just to stay in the higher market cap? So let me try the gap up movers that are, let's do 20 billion for now. So let's see, for the 20 billion, I got 1,000 of them. You know what? Let me narrow it down even more. 50 billion. Let me see. 487 observations. Okay. So 50 billion market cap or higher. So let's compare that to the rest of the group. So this is what happened. First half hour, pretty much the same as everybody else. 45% higher, 53% lower, on average break even. But by the end of the day, you could see that there was more often they finished higher from the opening price than lower. 56% of the time higher, 43% lower. On average, that group gained 0.3% versus the overall benchmark negative 0.6%. So about a 1% differential, sticking with the higher market caps versus the lower market caps. So takeaway, lower market cap stocks up big, not as many of them continued higher, but most of those price gains were in the first half hour. Higher market cap stocks, those more often than not continued higher to the end of the day for an average gain of 0.3%, better than the overall group, 45% with an average loss of 0.6. So those were the key insights. If you have no questions on this, I'm going to move on.
Well, we did have a question about the pre-market, and it came about a stock symbol, and it's one near and dear to my heart because they're about to go public. It's Roblox. Could you just show people how you see what new listings are being put out each day in either stocks or options again?
Yeah, so go to, right here, stocks, right? And it's in the morning report. So if we go to the morning report, these will be the listings today. So these will be new listings today. Then you could go back. So see here, March 10th.
Yeah.
You could go
what
back.
What he's talking about is today, RBLX, Roblox, those Class A's.
So here, RBLX, right? It'll be listed on the New York Stock Exchange. So today will be the first day here. And if it's in the options, if you're waiting for the options, just come down here, and these will be the new listing for options, and these will be the exchanges. So MX Arco listing, some of these options. So you could go back like this, as well as just go back here. If you wanted to see actually in the last year, while we're on there, in the last year, let's take a look at the new listings and how they perform. So why don't we do that? We haven't done that, I don't think, maybe ever. So here, new listings.
I didn't even know that was available.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So this is new listings in the last year, right? And you could just kind of track, well, what's been, hold on, let me just, got to move our video. So here, these are today, so we don't have, any data yet on them. But as you go back further, March 9th, we start to get data. So this is tracking what's been going on since the first day went public. So it captures the first day where the stock closed. What has it done since? So if you want to just see since initial open, I'm going to kind of sort here, and we could kind of go through them and look some of the bigger, what, let me do it by volume.
You can download this file if you want to, it looks like, huh?
Yeah. So this isn't open yet, so I don't have the current volume. But if we take a look at the, some of the gainers since they first went listed, we could take a look here. So let's look for a higher mark. Some of these are lower priced ones. So Magnite, MGNI. So you see here that it was 43, current price $43.40. Initially, the first day, it closed at $6.60. That was from July 1st, right? Some of these are going to be like warrants and units. Let's just kind of go down to the common stock. Greenwich licenses, current price $32.69. I mean, we see the high and the low, so you could see it's been much higher, but initially $5.75. That was on September 25th. Some of these are, looks like biotechs, September 8th, listed on the NASDAQ for $1.31, $6.92, up 480%. Let me take a look at, some of these will be lower market cap stocks. I might have to add a market cap to this report just to make it easier, but
probably a lot of SPACs in there as well.
Yeah, you probably get like SPACs in there. Let me do it by current price just to see the higher priced ones. So here's Snowflake, September 16th, stock closed at $2.45. Right now it's $2.30, so that's actually below that first days of trading. So remember, it's not IPO price, it's actually the price it traded at. IPO prices prior to a trade, right? Let me see. And here's one, Madison Square Garden. Did you know they went public April 20?
Thing is, I think they were public. Is that issue of more shares? So I could have sworn they've been public for a while, but I may be wrong.
Did they create more shares? I don't know. I'll have to take a look. But that's what we picked up, maybe some new Class A common shares.
Yeah.
Airbnb.
That is definitely new. Yeah.
So that's up 25% since the first day. In other words, if you bought it in the open market after the first day, 146, we're at 183, as high as 219. That's up 25% from that first day. You know, so we're trying to track where you could have actually bought it in the open market, because IPO price is different. You know, those are the.
Yeah, no, that you were right on an MS. I'm wrong. Obviously, it is only a year old.
Yeah, and some of these are preferred stocks, so you could kind of see who's issuing preferreds, you know, over here. But just wanted to point that out since you guys brought up the new listings.
Yeah, that's awesome.
If there are no questions on it, I'm going to move on.
Go forward, my friend.
Okay. What do you guys want to do next? Earnings or option block trades?
I think block trades, because we promised we'd look at block trades today.
All right, let's do that. So option block trades, these are, and by the way, I'm still working on this, so this is going to change as well.
I'm sorry, a question just popped in from Mike, who's an active chameleon. I just want to make sure. He wants to, could you show him again how you got to the new options that are coming out today?
Yeah, so the new options. So if you go into the stocks morning report, we kind of put them in here.
Your mic's reverbing. You're going to have to check out and check back in. Sorry about that.
Out and back in? All right, let me do that.
While D refreshes his computer, everyone, thanks for joining. Thumbs up, always appreciated. We're going to block trades. Yes, Steve S. Block trades are coming up. D should be back in a second. Also, if you're new to Market Chameleon, please subscribe to the channel. You'll get alerted to any new videos, webinars, anything new that's going on with the channel. If you haven't checked it out before, there is a link to a lot of videos. I will put that into the chat once Dima comes back. A link to the Chameleon site where we have all the, well, not all the videos, but quite a few videos organized in a library on the site. Mike Moreau, the mayor, thanks for letting us know D was garbled. He should be coming back soon enough. Jake's in the, here he comes. Deem, are you back? Nope, still not back. Here he comes. Come on. Hey, D.
Hey, Will.
All right, you're back.
Yep. Yeah, sorry. I think I clicked on the wrong link and tried to join somebody else's Zoom. But
that would have been fun.
Huh?
That would have been fun.
Let me share my screen. Come back to this. So under stocks, morning report right here. You know, we got some of the market events coming up, like 10-year auction, treasury statement, MBA mortgage applications, the time here. Then we got new stock listings, new option listings here below. Is that helpful?
That is excellent. Thank you.
Let's go to option block trades.
Yep.
Did you have a specific question? Because I have like 6 minutes left. So if you had a specific question, I'm going to jump to that.
Yeah, there wasn't a specific question, no.
Okay. So the option block trades, really, it's somewhere people come to find ideas based on where they're seeing money flowing into. You know, large options trades, that's kind of a starting point. Then you kind of analyze what do you think the thesis behind the trade is, what is the story behind it, and then you could make a decision if that's interesting for you or not interesting for you. Okay, so keep in mind that just because there's a big option block trade doesn't necessarily mean that there's a story or something really behind it, because there's lots of trades, just like any trade, there's lots of trades that are what we would consider an option block trade. One thing is we are working on changing this a little bit, because right now the way we define an option block trade is just by trade quantity, but we're gonna redefine it by notional value. So in other words, if there's 1,000 contracts that traded for deep out of the money, calls or puts that are a penny, and it's whatever, $100, $1,000 notional, we're going to take those out and replace it. That you could have one contract, for example, in Tesla, that could be, worth $500,000. So we're going to start defining it by the notional value of the trade, not just the size. We're working on that now, but that will change. So let's just kind of go over, what's going on here. And this is going to filter out bigger options trades, and it's going to give you the details of the trade and then some statistics behind it to help you kind of, get more insights into what happened, like what is this trade all about. And the good part about it is in options, we do get more details than we do in the equities market. So let's just kind of like go through it right now, like, from left to the right side. And you do have two different views. So on the main view, we have here the timestamp of the trade, the symbol, the stock symbol, here EWZ, the expiration of the option, April 16th, 2021, if it's a call or a put, the strike price, where the stock was at the time of the trade, and what the open interest is on this specific option. So we see here EWZ, April 16 put, 28 strike. The stock is 31.19, so this is an out of the money put. The strike is below the spot price. Open interest in that contract, 13,975 at the morning. So one thing is, keep in mind, open interest only updates once a day by the Options Clearing Corporation after based on settled trades at the end of the day, exercises, assignments, splits. So we see what the open interest was in the morning. The new open interest we'll see the next day. So in the morning, 13,975. This particular trade, there was one trade with 1,000 contracts, one block trade, 1,000 contracts. The trade price was 72 cents. At that time, the best bid, the best national bid was 69 cents. The best offer was 76 cents. So this trade got negotiated in between the market, 72 cents. You see, in between 69 cents, 76 cents. The notional value of that trade, $72,000. In other words, 72 cents times 1,000 contracts, 100 per, underlying deliverable times 100, $72,000. That's how much money exchanged hands. Here, this is just telling us that the price, 72 cents, was in between the market, in the middle of the bid and ask. Here, we're seeing that the implied volatility of this option, the trade price, at the time of the trade, was 49.7. So if we compare that to previous day, that's down 0.2%. So that's just letting us know that in relative terms, the implied volatility trade price was a little bit lower than the previous day. So this lets us know if option premium is getting pushed higher or lower in relative terms, because we measure that by implied volatility. This is the implied volatility rank. So what this is saying is that if we took a similar option in EWZ that was the same distance away from the spot price and the same amount of days to expiration historically, because we're measuring those implied volatilities historically, this is in the 89th percentile rank. I mean, like right now, I'm like reading through it. It's amazing how much information you're getting here, on this just one screen.
Yeah, that's super interesting. We did have one question about it. Is there any one way to screen just opening prints? I know we only have about 30 seconds left in the options.
Like well,
From
so
here.
options. So remember, options themselves do not have an opening print like a stock. Like a stock opening print is a trade. An option, the quotes open up after the stock opens up. So it doesn't actually have to trade. It could just be quotes, right? So mostly you just have quotes coming out, and a lot of options might not even have a trade all day or maybe ever. There's no open interest. So options don't have opening prints like a stock price does. A stock price, it'll go through rotation and have an opening print and then open up. You know, options don't have opening prints. They just have opening quotes. Really, sometimes they'll have an opening print, but not all the time. They don't need an opening print like a stock price does.
All right, great stuff, D. Maybe we can look more into it tomorrow on the option block trade. Also, Jake is asking for an update tomorrow. Maybe we can give it, or maybe you can go into the Discord. He's asking for an update on the fundamentals. Really,
so the fundamental, I'm working on as fast as I can, because I do want to push it out. I've been promising, but every day I'm kind of still finding, exceptions here and there that are weird, and then sometimes I don't understand the data, so I have to go to our vendor, or ask Morningstar, like, what is this number, or am I referencing the wrong number? So I'm still trying to work out the known exceptions, but I am getting closer. Maybe what I'll do potentially tomorrow is I'll start showing a preview before I start pushing things out. But I don't want to push anything out when I already know exceptions there that I didn't resolve yet.
All right.
Unfortunately, I fixed one and then another one pops in there. So, anytime you're dealing with data, you're gonna have issues and problems, right? Anytime you're dealing with lots of data, big data sets, you're gonna find issues and problems that need to be corrected along the way.
That is true. Follow the data. Hopefully it's correct. All right, Dima. Thank you, buddy.
Yep. Thanks, everyone. Have a great trading day. Stay safe. Hope to see you tomorrow.